the second day. You are in the partnerships that maximize transition resources for students with disabilities. And my name is Melody Archer. I and Valerie, Valerie, I just forgot how to pronounce your name. I'm so sorry.
B2Rada, no problem.
B2Rada, thank you. So we are your monitors today, and we will be in the background watching the Q&A and handling questions that may arise during the session. We encourage you to submit written questions at any time during the presentation, and that's by using that Q&A panel located at the bottom right of your screen. Also, we have closed captioning for this session. So to access those captions, notice that there is a multimedia viewer in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, and you may need to click a blue continue button to start the captioning. If you don't want to see the captioning, you have the ability to just click on the little arrow caret next to multimedia, and it will close that window. So please just type your questions into the text field of the Q&A and send it to all panelists. And then there will be a Q&A session at the conclusion of the presentation. We will be watching a pre-recorded session. The panelists for this session are here, and then they will be available to answer questions or comments at the end of the session. So we will begin in just a moment. Thank you.
Hello, thank you for joining us for Partnerships that Maximize Transition Resources for Students with Disabilities. I'm Lauren Hargrove, and I will be moderating today's session. With me today is a group of panelists representing both Workforce Solutions and Texas Workforce Commission, who will share with you their experiences, lessons learned, and best practices. Representing Workforce Solutions in the Student Hireability Navigator program, we have Diana Gatlin from Workforce Solutions South Plains, Ricky Rendon and Jeannette Lara from Workforce Solutions Lower Rio, and Lashaila Mitchum from Workforce Solutions Greater Dallas. Representing Texas Workforce Commission's Vocational Rehabilitation Division, we have Melissa Seale from VR Region 1, Vanessa Vera from VR Region 6, and William Belz representing VR Region 2. During today's panel, you will learn about the partnership between Texas Workforce Solutions and Texas Workforce Commission's Vocational Rehabilitation Division. You will also learn about the services and activities being developed to assist individuals with disabilities with their transition to post-secondary education and to employment. I'll start with a little background information on the Student Hireability Navigator role. The Navigators perform duties and provide deliverables in 3 focus areas: capacity building and systems development, partnership and collaboration, and engaging and informing employers. The overarching goal of the Navigator program is to increase the likelihood of students' independence and inclusion in workplaces, and also to encourage participation in post-secondary education experiences. During the panel, you will hear from Navigators and their VR partners on how they've worked together to achieve these common goals. To start us off with the focus area of capacity building and systems development, we have Diana Gatlin and Melissa Seale. I'll start with you, Diana. How has your relationship with VR enhanced your ability to serve unserved or underserved populations of students?
First off, I would say that understanding how VR works is probably one of the most important things that a navigator can do when they start out in their position. And I realize that each unit across the state is going to be different, but understanding Texas workforce and then what happens in the units, how the units are structured, and then building those relationships with the people that you're going to be working with every day are, it makes a huge difference in the outcomes that you're going to develop. Also, the navigator also has to understand the board or the contractor that they're working for. By doing this, they understand the amount of power that the board brings to the relationship with VR services and how they can access community resources and political strengths, starting with chambers of commerce and county judges. In understanding VR services, it encompasses their leadership and their structure. The vibe in each unit may look very different across the state. However, our role as a navigator is to learn to mimic that vibe and not be a distraction once they come into a unit to work. And I've been very fortunate. I work with a great group of counselors who've made my job very easy. And they've allowed me to go forward and ask questions like, how do we serve those who were already on caseloads, and how do we serve them better? How do we engage in those outlying rural areas or urban pockets who fly under our radar? And ultimately, how do we reach those who have never had an opportunity to receive VR services? There's a multitude of students I've encountered who don't even know what VR is. So even in a small region, that's a big job. So capacity building begins when we combine the power of the board and VR services, and we create a foundation that can meet the needs of our special populations. And then finally, to answer this question, one thing that's been helpful along with Lauren's help is to maintain good relationships with our fellow navigators across the state, whether they're in a big board or a small board, because we're going to get great ideas from each other to help our VR units, whether it's structuring a program or how to come across and conquer the problems that we have. You know, I constantly steal from Bill Dean in the Abilene area. He has great ideas, and he's very generous with sharing those ideas. So I feel like my job would be so much harder if I didn't take advantage of the help of my fellow navigators. We help celebrate victories and lift each other up when we have roadblocks. Beyond that, when we go back to the initial basis of working with VR, one of the things that we have to do is work with our community resources. Education 17 in my area, Education Service Center, our regional ISDs, they help us construct programs such as our family conference, easy virtual fairs, charting the course, paid work experience, and our United We Work Job Shadow program, which has grown over the state just since I've started as a navigator. Then we also come to an area where we help parents, because without parents buy-in, we're going nowhere. And that includes taking part in our family conference. Monthly, we have a virtual program that we call the Learning Table, where parents can come in and learn about things such as Social Security, how to teach their child money management, different things like that. So
Thanks, Diana.
You're very welcome.
So Melissa, can you describe how your relationship with Diana has enhanced your ability as a VR counselor to serve more students with disabilities?
Yes, I can. So prior to to COVID, we would have monthly meetings with our Education Service Center, the Student Hireability, the schools, just to connect and talk about resources and referrals and different programs that were going on. And then whenever COVID hit, we kind of had to change our direction of what we were doing and think outside the box a little bit. So we did some virtual trainings throughout the summer and this year. And Diana has helped us connect with some of the rural schools that might not have been able to participate in some of the in-person services that we've had previously because of travel and transportation issues. So we've been able to connect with different populations that we haven't been able to outreach to before. So the virtual trainings we've been doing have really opened the door to give information about what our program is and just spread the word. Diana helps make sure that we have our agenda and keeps us on track and gives us information on different tools and resources that are out there that we could be using just to better serve and help our customers that we're working with. I think the organization of each event is very beneficial, not only for us, but for the customers that we serve too. One of the new things that we've done this year is that we've collaborated for a streamlined referral process to connect with youth in foster care. We can keep track of where those students are at in the process. We have monthly meetings with the foster care units and with the youth WIOA programs and with the student hireability navigators so that we're all on the same page and we know what referrals need to be happening, that we're not making those same referrals and duplicating the work, that we're working together as a team more. So that's been very helpful in reaching some of those underserved populations that we've been struggling to connect with.
Thanks, Melissa. So for the next question, you've touched a little bit on the virtual services that you guys have implemented there, but Diana, could you please describe that approach and other approaches that you've implemented to increase community awareness of VR, pre-employment transition services, and just overall resources for students with disabilities?
Sure. Probably one of the biggest things that we encountered, and I touched on United We Work, which is our job shadow program, brings students together from all across our region to connect with employers, to actually learn about the different kinds of careers that are available to them. Quite frequently, they're told by mom and dad what they're going to do when they get older, if anything. So this is an opportunity for them to begin having a voice, to experience their self-advocacy and whatnot. And so United We Work was one of those huge programs. We worked very closely with our school districts and AmeriGroup, and then that program kind of blossomed across the state. I know that a fellow navigator in the North Texas area took the program and was using it in her schools. And so that is such an affirming experience to know that kids throughout the state are taking a program that we found out works and they're implementing it in their own areas. Our parent conference allows, it's not just a parent, it's a family conference, but it allows different speakers to come in and talk to families about how to structure their life going forward, that this, they don't want their student to remain on the couch and that type of thing. Also, one of the biggest things that we're starting to work on right now is reaching out to students in middle school so that we're touching on those 14-year-olds and trying to introduce them to VR services. I'm working on putting together a list of our educators in middle school, whether they're 504 or just special education, whatever area they need to be to get those students in touch with VR. And that's one of those difficult things because it's hard to track for the counselors. Their programs don't necessarily have a significant way to say that this student is on board, that they're achieving progress and that type of thing. So we're having to learn as we go. And so that's one of those important areas that we're learning is how does VR restructure some of their work areas to make sure that these students can be tracked and that eventually they're on the right road with their endorsements for high school, and that from there they're starting to think about a career and a career that they want, and have them have the opportunity to participate in paid work experience or Seale and those types of things. I had a million other things I wanted to say, and now I can't think of a single one. But those are some of our broad areas that we're working on. And we're constantly trying new things with our monthly virtual meetings. Whether we're working with a school segment that has been deemed difficult. We're just trying a lot of different things to reach out to students.
Thanks, Diana. So for you, Melissa, Diana mentioned a number of different approaches that she's implemented to increase community awareness of VR, pre-employment transition services, and resources for students. Can you share any outcomes that have resulted from Diana's approach to increase awareness? For example, are you receiving more referrals, or do you have greater access to students?
Absolutely. So with the summer earn and learn approaching, I have probably received, probably 30 new referrals in the past month. And that's amazing. That's a lot of students that I've never been connected with that have heard about the program and want to get engaged with us. So 30 new students is an awful lot. We had one of our last information meetings we had 47 participants on the meeting, which was a lot in our area out here. It was very beneficial. It gave everybody time to ask questions and plan and prepare for some of the things that are happening. I think one of the best approaches that we have is making sure that we're getting all of the team members on board in the planning process. I can't do everything by myself. Diana can't do it all by herself, but whenever we work together and we collaborate and we plan on these events, it makes a huge difference. I think that's been one of the most helpful things so far.
Thank you, Melissa. And thank you, Diana, as well, for sharing information, responding to these questions surrounding capacity building and systems development. Go ahead. Next, we will highlight the partnership and collaboration focus area. So for this section, you will hear from Ricky Rendon, Jeannette, Lara, and Vanessa, Vera. I'll start with you, Ricky. Can you share best practices for building and fostering a strong relationship with your VR partners?
Sure, thank you. As student hireability navigators, we have the unique role of promoting transition services from both vocational rehab and workforce solutions. So we work closely with both agencies. And like Diana mentioned earlier, we have to understand how each works. In a way, we serve as liaisons who focus on strengthening communication, streamlining information, leveraging resources, and maximizing services. To do this, we have to be in tune with the challenges and needs in our community. And we have to have a holistic approach. For example, Jeannette and I are constantly connecting with the community stakeholders to learn about the transition challenges experienced by people with disabilities, their families, educators, and employers. We are then able to convene with vocational rehab and workforce solutions to create systemic solutions to these barriers. The expertise and guidance from vocational rehab staff has allowed us to enhance the accessibility of our services. They have also coordinated disability and assistive technology trainings to our staff. Just recently, we were able to add the Sorensen video relay phones at our centers and other technology that we were able to get with the guidance from vocational rehab. So just the same, Workforce Solutions has resources such as our online referral system that has allowed more referrals to be or facilitated the referral exchange between both agencies. We also have social media and virtual meeting platforms that have helped increase awareness and connect our community to vocational rehab services. So I definitely think we're better together and we continue adapting and transforming to build best practices, definitely.
Thank you, Ricky. And Vanessa, can you share from your perspective best practices for building a relationship with the student hireability navigators that fall within your VR region?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Lauren. So as Ricky had mentioned, when we got hit with the pandemic, we definitely had to adapt and evolve moving forward. We really did implement some new practices and we wanted to definitely work smarter, not harder, right? So we wanted to continue what was already a great relationship that had been established with the local workforce and our local VR in Lower Rio. And by doing this, we wanted to develop a streamline of communication to just manage each other's expectations, but mostly just to get to know one another. We know that the pandemic has really brought us to remote work. So it hasn't given us the capability to really meet each other in person, but we didn't want that to stop us. We wanted to ensure that we moved forward with our times, and even if that meant we had to meet each other virtually. And so we started we developed what we call a monthly meeting for strengthening our integration, right, and just collaboration. With these monthly meetings, it really consisted of our regional program team, which was our youth specialist, the business relations coordinator, our community and awareness outreach specialist, and our local VR managers, our manager, our supervisor, but also a lot of important individuals from the workforce. And so that included our student hireability navigators, and they also brought onto the table the business team. And so these meetings really just consisted of, sharing ideas and really getting updates as to what we were doing, just so we wouldn't duplicate services or just making sure that all of our intentions and that communication that we want to provide to our community was being done thoughtfully and very mindful as a team. And so we collaborated on several projects. We have grown from one another, we have learned from one another, and honestly, we've been able to collaborate on ongoing projects that have already been put in place. We have also began partnering for new events, right? And it's all just the best practice of communication. The communication is essential. It is ultimately, it's very consistent with our local VR, with our supervisors, with our staff there, with the regional team, and also our workforce partner. And this has really been very key in being successful to continue serving our population. We use a lot of communication methods, whether it be via email, texting. We collaborate a lot on our team's channels, and it's really evolved into being able to provide the best services as possible for our community.
Thank you, Vanessa. So my next question is for you, Jeannette. Can you describe what outreach strategies you've implemented to be able to share information within your local community?
Hi, Lauren. Yes, definitely. So in Lower Rio, we have implemented multiple strategies to share information to our community. Some of those being virtual and others have been in person prior to the pandemic. But I did want to start off with our social media efforts. Back in September, Ricky and myself started to host a Facebook Live series on our Workforce Solutions Facebook page. And this has been taking place every other week, highlighting various community partners who offer transition-related services. They're about 10 to 15 minutes long, and we've had the opportunity to host some of our partners, such as our local education service center, a transition representative, our local independent living center, and we've also been able to highlight some of our local VR specialized services, such as those provided to blind and visually impaired individuals. We do continue this series to this day, and it's pretty neat just to know that they are being archived since they're being broadcasted on Facebook so that individuals can view these at a later time. Prior to our board obtaining a Zoom, last May, we partnered with our local ESC to host a virtual transition fair. A lot of our school districts and colleges were not having their usual in-person transition fairs due to the pandemic and virtual world still being new. So we saw this as an opportunity to partner and still provide that information to our teachers, students, and parents. And then, of course, once our board did obtain the Zoom platform, we were kind of able to pay it forward, and we've been able to assist our partners with virtual events that they've had or have needed assistance in hosting. Some other events, and then, of course, some of them being virtual, that we've held to provide resources to our community on transition services, such as a youth hireability job fair, which was held in person almost 2 years ago and provided high school transition students who were looking for employment with the opportunity to meet employers and apply in person. And then this past October, we held a virtual hireability job fair that was open to all individuals, but was designed for individuals with disabilities in mind. So employers knew that this was a job fair to be able to provide those opportunities. So the important thing that I do want to note about some of these events is that one cannot do these alone. These events were successful because of the partnerships and collaborations that did take place. Another one of our strategies I wanted to touch up on is our Workforce Solutions tours. Prior to the pandemic, our Workforce Solutions centers would host these tours. A lot of the times, students are not aware of the resources that are available to them in the community. So by them going physically into our Workforce Solutions centers and seeing where they can go to after graduation is a great asset to them. That way they know that we do provide school and employment related resources, and they won't be lost as well. About a year ago, Ricky and I initiated a transition coalition in our area, which consists of disability stakeholders who come together to learn and share resources and make sure that transition students have the tools needed to be successful. And of course, these are tools not just for the students themselves, but for the parents and educators as well, and employers. As an extension to this coalition, we have developed education and employment subcommittees that take place to address those specific needs. And then lastly, I did want to mention how important presentations have been in outreaching to our community. As student hireability navigators, we have had the honor of presenting with the VR partners, not just at statewide presentations such as the one that we are on today, but have also ensured that we communicate with our local VR and local presentations as well. When it comes to school meetings or presentations, we have always made sure that the assigned VR counselor is invited or aware of what is being discussed, as of course our goal as a student hireability navigator is to ensure communication is consistent and that we do once again support each other. And just touching up on that, when Ricky and myself have gone out to school districts to introduce ourselves, our role, and of course workforce, we go out with the goal of learning what barriers are being faced when it comes to transition of students with disabilities to post-secondary education or employment. And although we do not have all the answers, we can definitely at least connect them to our local partners or share resources that we may already have. And then, of course, the communication does not stop there. We do, during those initial meetings, we obtain those individuals' contact information, their email, so that we can continue to be in contact with them and, of course, them with us. With this information, we are able to share workforce-related material, VR-related information on webinars that could be beneficial to the teachers, the students, and the parents and employers as well. So just overall, we continue to outreach our partners and maintain that communication so that together we can provide the necessary information to our community.
Thank you, Jeannette. So my next question is for you, Vanessa. How have you taken those strategies that Jeannette mentioned, the virtual tours, the presentations, the virtual transition fairs? How have you taken those strategies and how have they impacted your VR region? What would you say are some of the outcomes that you've seen as a result?
So the results have been very significant. I think that when we first got assigned the student hireability navigators, everybody had a mentality of maybe being worried, but I can assure you that within our local area in Lower Rio, the communication has always been so significant and consistent with our team to where we had no worries. We really had those open conversations of how we wanted to collaborate on projects and talk to them about the needs and what we felt would really be essential for their role in helping us in moving forward, not only with referrals, but also with these fairs and collaborations, projects. And one of the main things that we actually started working with a lot during the COVID is our Easy Virtual platform. That has been very essential when it comes to collaborating with our partners because they have these amazing ideas along with our local staff. And when we start combining all of our ideas together, like they're so impactful. And I wanted to talk a little bit about the most impactful one that we've recently had. And that was an event that we had using the VR Easy Virtual platform. And we collaborated together with the event called Moving Forward Together. This event was primarily only for VR staff and workforce staff because as we continue with our integration and we have great relationships, sometimes we're still a little bit weary with what exact services are provided, how can we really enhance these services together, how can we partner in these comparable benefits to get that best fit for our customers to succeed, right? Because we have mutual customers and they do such a great work for being our liaisons and bringing that diversity and that inclusivity as they message VR services with their social media. But also as we were partnering for this event, they did a lot of recruiting on their end from the workforce partners to attend our event so we can learn from one another. So we were learning about each other's programs. They learned about VR programs and we really coordinated about what was the most important fit, what was the most important information that our workforce partners wanted to know because we wanted it to be beneficial. Although it was a soft introduction, we wanted it to be impactful and useful for them, and vice versa. We wanted the information that they were going to bring in this event to our counselors to be very useful. So it was very customized, and it was very successful. We hope that this would be a great opportunity in moving forward with very detailed information and trainings for one another. But again, just like they message the diversity and inclusivity for our community and our agency, we also want to message that within our own divisions, right? And how we can evolve together and be stronger. So I just want to close the statement with, no matter what, the only reason we have been so successful with our collaboration and our best practices is because that communication is so essential in moving forward to have that success between both of us.
Thank you so much, Vanessa. And thank you, Ricky and Jeannette, for sharing your best practices on partnership and collaboration. Finally, we will highlight the Engage and Inform Employers focus area. For this section, you will hear from Lashaila Mitchum and William Belz. My first question is for you, Lashaila. Could you please describe what strategies you utilize to maintain a strong partnership with VR? How did you guys start out?
Well, Lauren, honestly, it all started at lunch. And as Billy and I discovered, it was one of our favorite times of the day. And so it was really a great opportunity pre-COVID to explore and share our professional experience and background and really identify our passions and skill sets. Whereas I like to be out in the community, know what's going on, who's doing what. Billy is well versed, and I call him the tech guru in different technology. So it was very organic in the beginning of our partnership. We established and really talked about the transparency of our agencies, whereas he is a regional state staff person. I am a local workforce development board person. So there is an importance, and as my other student hireability navigators highlighted, there is an importance of establishing transparency. Who does what? What are the type of programs and services that are offered, and how are they rendered? So it really helped us to maximize understanding our role and our functions within our different agencies, and provided a guideline for how we engage one another with different community events, as well as different community partners. We also just pulled out our computers and our calendars and looked at what each other were engaged in for that week. And we just started inviting each other as it related to our roles and our functions. And I think that that has been a true key to our success in building partnerships, as well as informing employers about services that are available to them. Because there are, two clients that we essentially serve. We serve not only our transitional students, but we also serve employers as well. So exposing them to the different opportunities such as Texas hireability, paid work experience was important, especially in the world of COVID, opportunities where they can still engage and generate their workforce. And so as we invited one another to different meetings, we were able to identify challenges with our internal as well as our external partners and offer solutions, i.e. Texas Workforce Solutions, Greater Dallas, and really maximize on following up with those plans. So it's one thing to meet with your community partners, and it's another thing when you can give them tangible results. So inviting them to different hiring events, inviting them to different opportunities to learn more about the benefits of being an employer or engaging with individuals living with different abilities. It was all kind of this big explosion of goodness, I would like to say.
Thanks, Lashaila. So William, Lashaila mentioned outreach in some of her description for how you guys partner together. Can you describe how you and Lashaila coordinate your outreach to employers?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll tell you, it all did begin with that really meeting for lunch, and that just seems so obvious, right? But meeting there and being able to actually talk about and relate and kind of come up with plans, that was kind of the first step, because from there we're really just doing the same thing that Vanessa was talking about with the easy button, right? Try to simplify a process. So when it comes to coordinating between the Greater Dallas Board and VR, we keep it simple. It's emails, phone calls, text messages, right, Lashaila? We have that open line of communication to where if I receive an email from her, we're just on it. We just communicate back and forth like that. And it works really well. It seems simple, and we like to keep it simple. From there, another thing we did for Region 2, we built a team out on Microsoft Teams. And then I realized that, hey, we can add external people that are not within TWC or not within VR. We can add them to the team. So I added, Lashaila and all the navigators to our team just so they can be on there and they can see all the jobs we're posting. They can see all the events we're having. And then, of course, I definitely pull her in for all the events too. So it works really well. It's full circle, and I think we just keep it simple, right? So, Shayla, did I get all that? I think I did. I think we got it right.
Great job, Billy. Great job.
Okay, cool. See, we bounce it back and forth. That's how we work.
Thanks, Billy. So Lashaila, can you highlight any events and activities that you have coming up that will engage and inform employers?
Well, Lauren, Workforce Solutions Greater Dallas is definitely aligning with organizations that have organizations and programs that are especially interested in transitional services. So we partner with the Mayor's Committee on People with Disabilities, their employability program, to educate employers about disability etiquette and how to engage. We also host our online Facebook Live series where employers have an opportunity to share about their work opportunities. We also partner with our VR units. For instance, we have recruited some employers for Mastering the Real World, as well as our local school districts. So we're all about engaging in whatever opportunities that are out there and aligning ourselves with organizations that are motivated to support individuals living with disabilities.
Thank you, Lashaila. And Billy, do you have any other events outside of the ones that Lashaila already mentioned that are coming up that you'd like to share?
Yeah, definitely. On, I believe it's May 6th, we have the Texas College Fest that, Lashaila and I will work together along with the transition counselor that put that together. On April 20th, we have one called Goals. It's for students age 14, 15, 16, 17 to kind of basically help them figure out what's coming next in terms of what to do for high school. And then really we're getting creative with it. We're constantly brainstorming. We actually have a brainstorm channel within the Region 2 team. And one of the things we did on National VR Day, which was March 22nd, was we did with the Hireability group that Lashaila mentioned, we did a reverse job fair, and I think that was really unique and cool because it showed that we can use our easy virtual care platform to do that reverse job fair kind of outline for an event. So brainstorming coming up with ideas and just doing it. So it works really well.
Thank you. And I'll throw you a curveball. So where can our community members find information about the events that are coming up?
Yeah, definitely. So on our end, we basically have email lists. So we'll make a flyer for the event that has, the date, how to access it and register. And then we try to just bomb that out as much as possible. But then a big part of that is passing it along to Lashaila and Navigator partners as well. And then Lashaila, I guess you take it and have your contacts and it just puts it together, right?
Yes. And anyone who's interested in what Workforce Solutions Greater Dallas is doing, you can follow us on Facebook. You can also visit our website to learn more about programs and services at wfsdallas.com.
Thanks, guys. All right. Thank you for sharing information on how you engage and inform employers. I think it's really beneficial for our partners to hear that. So I will wrap it up here with our next portion of the presentation. So I just wanted to wrap up today with a few lessons learned from our presenters regarding partnership, collaboration, engaging employers, and just working to build that capacity together. So here are a few lessons that I've learned from our partners. So the first is to take time to understand each other's roles, responsibilities, and organization. Commit to this early on and do your part to really get to know each other's organizations and what responsibilities they're actually tasked with doing. Next, consider your partner a part of your team. Invite that partner to meetings, involve them in discussion and planning for future activities and also planning for future events. I also found it really important to maintain ongoing communication, and that's both formal and informal communication. It may be as simple as inviting that partner to your Teams channel or including them on transition meetings or team meetings that you're hosting with your staff. Next, to identify and maximize each other's unique skill set. So get to know one another, identify what each other's strengths are, and then use that information to move your partnership forward. Next, establish clear expectations. So set those guidelines up front and really make sure that you make an effort to follow through with what you're tasked with doing. And lastly, maintain a willingness to learn as you go and be flexible. Many of our partnerships require trial and error to get things right, and it's always important to be willing to fail and learn together. I'd like to close this section with my recommendation that you reach out to your workforce and VR partners to learn more about who your student hireability navigator is. You can reach us in the Student Navigator mailbox, which is studentnavigators@twc.state.tx.us. Thank you to our presenters and to all of you who tuned in to today's session. I hope you enjoy the rest of the forum.
Okay, we are at the question and answer period of the session. So if you have some questions for the panelists, would you please type them into the Q&A box on the bottom right of your screen, and they will answer your questions. We do have a compliment. Great panel, guys. And the comment, great breakout session, highly informative.
Thank you. I just wanted to mention, I wanted to thank all of you, all the participants that are here, and I wanted to thank the navigators who are viewing us. I know Lauren mentioned at the beginning how about our program, and just wanted to reiterate that there's a student hireability navigator at every workforce board, right, available to assist with transition resources, enhancing programs, right, as was mentioned. So be sure to utilize that contact that Lauren shared. Connect with your navigator.
Thank you, Ricky.
Of course.
Well, it looks like we don't have any questions. So anything else that you all would like to say on the panel before we close?
We received one question about PowerPoints being available, so just wanted to share that those will be available 7 days after the forum, and they'll be posted on the TWC website.
Okay. Thank you for that. So 7 days? And is that also when the recording will be available?
I would think so. They'll be posted
Yes.
together most likely.
Okay, very good. And all the participants will receive emails about how to access the recordings. Okay. Well, I want to thank all of you on the panel for being with us today and for providing such an excellent presentation. And thank all of you for attending. We appreciate it. Just a quick reminder that there will be a survey coming your way after this session, and we would really appreciate it if you would answer the questions and give some feedback. So thank you, and everyone have a great day. Enjoy the sessions this afternoon.
Thank you for attending the 2021 Texas Workforce Commission Virtual Forum. We trust the information was beneficial and will help us better serve the people of Texas. We will see you next year.